Hi guys, so this is Josh from Protein Partners. Josh is going to chat through with us today a little bit about how the quality control here works, how we go through the process of creating and manufacturing our products, and answer some basic questions about how we do it. So stay tuned, you're going to get to see how supplements get made and how we create our products here. So Josh, do you want to start off talking about how we go through the process from creating the product all the way through to production?
Yeah, so a customer like yourself would come in initially. Some customers know exactly what they want. They have an existing product. They say, right, can you match this, match flavour-wise, ingredients, etc. They might have a formula that they want to achieve. They might know a few active ingredients within that formula that they want. They don't know any flavours, for example. So from that point, we'll then make a bill of materials, or we'll make a base formula. That formula might be complex. It might be a pre-workout, for example, which has got close to 30 active ingredients in there. It might be a whey that's got 5 ingredients in there. So from point A to point B, we'll make the formula. Samples will then be made up downstairs in the lab using ingredients from production. Samples sent out for approval. Once that's approved, we'll write a specification up. Once that specification is written and approved by the customer, they'll be quoted for the formula and specification. So based on the taste of the powder that we've sent out and the specification we've sent, they'll then okay the quote. The quote, once that's been accepted, everything gets uploaded onto our system. So we'll then make a recipe sheet. We'll add it to our stock and purchasing, sales and purchasing software. So the recipe sheets come in. This is for the grape ice version. So for the maltodextrin, for example, the 65 kilo blend, we need 37.6981. Everything's weighed out here to 4 decimal places. The maltodextrin, as you can see here, comes in 25 kilo bags. So what we'll do is we'll have one full bag, and then we'll weigh out the additional 12 point whatever to make up the full amount. So once it's all weighed out, it goes onto the pallets here. So each ingredient per pallet. So on here, this will be another customer's product. Well, they've got each ingredient, each component that goes into that product. That is then taken through here. The pallet is then taken to the top of the stairs. We'll throw that into the blending unit. Everything's blended here and drops into an IBC. So it goes into one of these. That's then essentially a finished product in there. That pallet's then lifted up to the top of the blender, poured into the blender for a sieve, which is our first critical control point as part of our HACCP.
What's a HACCP?
HACCP is the hazards and critical control points. So it's basically our quality system to ensure that all products leaving here are safe for consumption and meet all the food hygiene standards. So it's put through the sieve into the blender. Once all the ingredients in there, it's blended for a set amount of time, usually based on whatever weight it is, how dense the powder is, for example. From that point, retained sample is then taken from the blender and sent upstairs for taste testing. We then positively release it based on the taste of the product. Once it's been released, the full blend, the blended powder, the premix, that goes into a big container, lifted to the top of the filling station, falls down the mechanism, so to speak, into the tubs that are coming on the conveyor belt below. As they're going down the conveyor belt, it's filled. The filler is obviously set to whatever weight it is, 810 grams for your product, for example. So then a scoop is then added. Then it goes further down the line through the check weigher to make sure that the product is 810 grams of powder. Then it goes through the metal detector, which is our second critical control point. Then from there, if any metal is detected, it's pushed off the line as a reject. Same with the check weigher, if it's under or overweight by a set tolerance, that's then pushed away. Then goes further down the line where a lid applies. Continues down the line into the labeler. Finally, it's inkjetted with the best before date and the batch number, and then at the end of the line, there is a team who do the final quality check, so they make sure there's no powder on the outside of the tub, make sure that it's sealed properly, and they make sure that the best before and batch data are on there, clearly readable, and that they're correct.
So how do you make sure that all the ingredients that come in are up to the quality you expect?
So all of our suppliers go through a supplier approval process. That's basically a lot of the suppliers that we use for multiple ingredients. We do have a select few where we'll have a couple of ingredients, usually the more specialist ingredients. So for them and for the others as well, they'll then go through the supplier approval, just a form that they need to fill out to ensure that they've got all the correct accreditations.
What accreditations do they have to have?
Very dependent on country. So the UK, we make sure they've got a good manufacturing process or equivalent for other countries. BRC accreditation, and we'd like to see their HACCP process as well, just to make sure that they're following all of the necessary precautions to make sure there's no contamination in their ingredients.
Before the ingredient reaches you?
Before the ingredient reaches you, yeah, that's in their manufacturing process.
Yeah. Where do most of the ingredients come from?
We get a lot in from China, UK distributors, but a lot of the ingredients do originate from China. That's mainly your amino acids, creatine, a lot of your sort of synthesized ingredients tend to come from China. For the natural stuff, it can be from wherever. I mean, whey, for example, is just a byproduct of milk production, so wherever milk is produced, whey is produced. We have ingredients that are extracts from fruits in Africa and India and what have you. So they obviously originate from there. We have ingredients that come from the States, from Canada, all over the place.
But all those ingredients are then tested in their place of origin or placed here?
So they are tested by the supplier. Mainly sort of metals, yeast and molds, moisture, etc. They'll then issue a specification to us, which is approved before we even think about bringing the ingredient in.
Yeah.
So before we bring the ingredient in, we ensure that everything is in check, so that A, it won't have any effect in production. For example, if the moisture content is too high when you're working with ambient powders, that's going to knacker you basically. But mainly to make sure that it's food safe. And to make sure that their manufacturing process, or however their ingredient is synthesized, for example, is compliant with what we've come to expect here.
So how many flavours do you have in stock?
Tough to put an actual figure on it here, but it's roughly 50. That can be anything from grape flavouring, for example, where we'd have one, kiwi would have one, pomegranate would have one, whereas when you move over to your chocolate, your vanilla, strawberry, people have different expectations of what that might be.
Yeah.
So chocolate flavour, for example, we have 3 on site. Some people think chocolate should taste like dairy milk, some people think it should taste like Galaxy. So everyone has a different idea on that. Same with strawberry, so we have a pre-workout based strawberry, which is a lot tangier, whereas the whey or recovery powder strawberry, a lot of people want that to taste like a milkshake, your McDonald's milkshake.
And there's the combinations within we were talking about earlier. So in, for example, our new Tangtastic flavour, the combination is?
Fruit punch and bubblegum.
Yeah, so hopefully we can also find lots of new combinations that we can bring together for some new flavours. Stay tuned, we're going to put some more information out in the links below about our new products and how you can get your hands on some for free.